Hi guys, it's Ray with Ray's Turquoise Turtle. Today we are going to work on a black base. I have 20 mLs of resin mixed up that I'm going to tint black. And the only thing I'm going to use on this are the Tim Holtz alloys. I have the 5 of them out. They are Sterling, Mind, Gilded, Foundry, and Statue. I've done one of these before. The first one I did, I didn't tint my resin black. I'm going to try that this time. But these are all metallics. I've shaken them all up pretty well. Hopefully good enough. I watched Lucinda Swirl do an all metal cup, and it came out pretty cool. She used not these. She used a different variety of metallics, mixatives, and other inks. So I've used these before, so hopefully I'll get a similar result this time. The alloys work a little different than the mixatives if you use them on like Yupo. They kind of chase each other and leave like lines around the edge of whatever you're working on. So I'm just mixing a little epoxy dye, opaque, and a little bit of black ink to get my black base. I am using KS resin. This is my test run with it. I always like to test a new resin on an ink on a black base tumbler, so I'm actually, I only mixed enough for 1 cup, but I'm actually going to set up to do another one shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, get the resin on here. I've been trying to find another resin for my tumblers that I really like using, and so far none of the ones I've sampled have hit the mark, so we'll see what I think about this one. I like how bubble free it came out quickly and how it's going on. It's applying nice and smooth. I get a lot of questions about what I use for epoxies. I do tend to use a higher quality, more expensive resin for my tumblers than I do for my molds. So my favorite so far has been the Faux Rizzle UV, which is also branded under the FX Premium. But they have kind of combined their brands, so if you order that, you'll get both names on it currently. That is the one that I get a little allergic reaction to, though, if I touch it. So I've been kind of hoping to find something that I like the same, that has the same properties, high heat resistance, high UV values. But I just, like I said, I haven't come up with the one yet. So we'll see what I think of this. Okay, so that's all on there. I'm going to swap this glove out before I start touching the vials, the bottles. Every time I use this black dye, I make a freaking mess. Someday I will just bite the bullet and order a new one. Okay. So that is spinning. I do have my heat gun ready to go. I'm probably not going to put too much heat to it, but probably a little bit. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to grab one. Now, this is the Sterling. I found on other projects that the Sterling doesn't quite work as well as the others. So I don't know if it's a failure to mix properly or It's just not quite the same. So I'm just going to put a few drops on. And I do the bottoms of my cups, so I'm going to make sure I get a little bit of a drip down the edge. This one is the statue. And the mind, which I might need to poke this one. It's interesting how the sterling is separating already and the statue is sitting on top. Whoops. Something to note, if you use the alloys on paper or vinyl or whatever, you do have to use the blending solution or some other product that contains a little bit of a resin. Otherwise, they won't set in place. These two are just slightly different silvers. This one almost has a little bit of a gold tone around the edge, if that makes sense. I'm just going to grab a pokey tool real quick to poke this one open. Sometimes they just get a little gummed up. There we go. So I have to decide if I want to leave some black open. This one's just really, really pretty. It's almost like a rose gold. Let's see, I've got plenty on the bottom. I'll come back in with a little bit more. And then I'm going to see if we can't get these two move a little bit. They really shouldn't mix too much together, but they might a little bit. So I'm going to give it some heat to get it moving. See how they're kind of creating lines around each drop? That's their running together thing they do. Alright, so I'm going to turn on my heat gun and give it a little bit. I'm not going to turn the fan up super high, I'm just going to kind of give it heat. They're almost just sitting on the surface of the resin currently. So I'm going to see if I can't get them moving and blended a little bit. It's actually almost like this resin is bubbling underneath. Interesting. Not really the reaction I got the last time. Get a little heat on the bottom. Okay, it is warm. It is starting to run off, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a tilt. Let's see if it'll move a little bit more. I'd really like to take it off the turner, but I think as warm as it is, that might not be the best idea. See if I can do it without sitting it down or dropping it off its football. I would pick the harder turner to get a cup off of. Can you see it running? Kind of like what it's doing here. I've got an awful lot of the rose gold kind of color in big spots. Tilt it back the other way a little second. See if I can't work some of that, stretch it back up. Stretch this part a little bit. Let me go ahead and put a drop of the silver or the foundry in that rose gold. It should be warm enough to still move. Tilt it back down a second. It pushed it, but now it's not moving itself. But it should start to move a little bit once I get it back on the turner. So let me go ahead and get it back on the turner, and I will show you how it looks tomorrow when it's dry. It's doing some weird stuff, so I'm hoping that it's not reacting badly with this particular resin. But it is definitely still running, so it needs to get back on here and properly leveled and let go to do its thing. So I will be back. Okay, here is that all alloys cup. It worked out really nicely. I am really pleased with the finish. I do have a couple little bubble spots. I don't know if it was dust or bubbles in the resin, but I'm not really worried about them. It's going to get a decal and another coat, and I can smooth them out first. But it actually came out really cool. This one looks better than the last one I did. Overall, I'm really pleased with the resin too, so that was a good test. So I will figure out something to put on this one. I have no idea what yet, but I'll come up with something and eventually get her done. So this was the Tim Holtz alloys, all of them. That's what you get when you combine them all on black. Thank you.